It is quite something to call your novel All That Man Is. And this is David Soleil's shortlisted book. Let's talk about this novel in a minute. On the Man Booker shortlist thing, the penultimate one that I'm going to review. Let's set aside that it's very good at the moment. We'll get back to that in a second. Is it all that man is? No. Is it much that men are? Yes. So that's it's set its bar high, hasn't reached it, but its bar is very high. It's just won the Gordon Byrne Prize, which is good because it's very good. It deserves to be on the shortlist. What's controversial about it is certain books didn't get in because they weren't eligible because they were regarded as short stories. I keep banging on about it, but Claire Louise Bennett's Pond, is this a novel or a set of short stories? Setting aside that it has a theme, which is the stages of man as Soleil thinks they are, an 18-year-old, 22-year-old, blah, 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 going up to 70-year-old. I don't think is the point. And whether they're joined by a theme or not, I don't think is a point. I think the point is they feel like short stories. They operate like short stories. The level of satisfaction is that of a short story. Whether there is a kind of cumulative satisfaction as you read through them that is different to reading through a volume of short stories, I'm not convinced by. I am convinced by the fact that he is a prose stylist of the highest order. That he is, he has this kind of. I mean, I think it's fantastically well written. He's sort of tried to make almost spoken sentences, the kind of the syntax that we find we speak when we speak in sentence, into high style. And that's clever, it's unusual, and it delivers something that much other writing doesn't. So it's very interesting stylistically. The problem for me, ultimately, I think, is that he hasn't overreached in terms of his style. I think he's overreached in terms of his claim. The style feels as though it has the opportunity to operate, but it feels as though he's actually, I don't know how old he is, but I think he's 40 or under. It does feel he lacks a little life experience. So the best stories feel as though he may well have lived them, and the stories that don't necessarily succeed are the ones that are slightly older. And so I kind of feel that his style is ahead of his experience, but that's to pick at a piece of writing which I think is first class, and any novelist that cares about sentence making will feel very envious at the effortlessness of sentences that feel new and completely freshly minted. He's not trying to be anybody else, it seems to me, and most of us are. So I think I think that's high praise, that you feel you're reading. One feels one's reading an original voice, and that doesn't happen very often these days. I think Claire Louise Bennett's Pond is a more original voice, and it is ultimately a subtler book, and it's more of a novel than this, but it didn't get in for that reason. So that's an argument that could go on and on and on. But that's it really. It's a great book. It's brilliantly written, but it is a book of short stories. It deserves to be on shortlists, and it clearly just won one. Whether it's a novel, I'm not entirely sure. But I think if you're interested in the modern voice in sentence making, he's very interesting and does some wonderful things, and there are some fantastic moments in it. some hilarious moments, some very, very maddening moments. Some of it is deeply sad. The other thing, just quickly, it was criticised when it came out as being fairly pessimistic about the state of man. If you're going to say it's all that man is, and these men mostly are quite narrow. I mean, there's a wide scope of men, and in the cumulative breadth of their narrowness, we have width or whatever. But as individual men, are we quite so narrow? Are we quite so, I don't know, one-dimensional is maybe not quite right. Narrow and one-dimensional doesn't say very much, does it? And there is also, I think, it does feel quite a cynical book. The women are often either sort of, predatory, hugely overweight, venal, not so. There's not a great amount of human warmth in this book. And I think sometimes when we look at the world and our individual worlds, actually you can look through a sort of cold lens, a sort of existentially cold lens. And I think he's done that, and it's quite scary, but I'm not sure it's entirely accurate in terms of the breadth of our emotion. So the men aren't particularly likable, the women aren't particularly likable. The relationships are quite tough. So it's a tough book. But on the other hand, if you don't want to read anything that is completely rammed with sentiment, and one wants to look at the sort of toughness, the coldness, the narrowness of our existence, rendered in fantastic sentences, maybe this is for you. Thank you.